What's up, YouTube? Drew Manchu coming at you, not for an editorial or review or a face-to-face video or a comic book haul or hunt or any of that stuff. I'm here to enter Gizmoat17's 100 subscriber giveaway. Gizmoat17 is a fantastic comic book related channel where Gizmoat and Mrs. Gizmoat show you their favorite comic books that they picked up at cons, LCS hauls, all kinds of good stuff they get on the internet. I've seen Gizmoat share some winnings that he had in raffles. He also does some comic book auctions online as well. So they're always picking up different books from different places. They have diverse tastes, and they really like a lot of the same things I like as well. So really nice to see them collecting some really great books, and they have some fantastic banter and a great chemistry about them. There are a couple rules to Gizmoat17's contest. Number one, you gotta be 18, and I'm old as fuck, so that's covered right there. Number two, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. I found them last week, subbed them up, and I've binged a bunch of their videos, and they got some really great stuff, so I suggest you guys do the same. The Gizmoat family also has a bunch of questions that they want you to answer and some things they want you to share with them. But the first thing that they ask is that you shout out somebody who is under 100 subscribers. And I'm going to shout out Soma Hobbies. My buddy Andrew over at Soma Hobbies started out his YouTube career as Kaniyashi Yoshi, did a bunch of contest videos and comic book hauls. Then he decided to switch things up and refocus as Soma Hobbies. And so far has been doing some really great stuff. The last project he had, he put together a late 70s model kit of the Darth Vader TIE Fighter, painted the whole thing, put it together, showed you some step-by-steps, some results to some tests that he did with paint. Some good stuff. I really enjoyed watching him put that together, and I think that if that's something you guys are interested in, that'd be something you'd like to watch as well. Now on to the questionnaire de Gizmoat. First, how long have you been collecting? And this simple question has a two-tier answer from me, so if I ramble on a little bit, feel free to skip forward. You know, I've been a lifelong collector. I always collected toys and action figures and always looked at it as acquiring a full set. I remember back when I was really little, toddler age, having all of the Masters of the Universe. I had an older brother, so I played along with him and all the Masters of the Universe toys. We had all of the Voltron Lions. We had all of the Silver Hawks. If you guys remember Silver Hawks, they were freaking awesome, but they do not pass the test of time, so that's never coming back. But my most vivid collector memory, my most vivid first instance of being a collector myself is me and my brother in the mall going to KB Toys. My mom bought each of us one action figure. I picked up Nightcrawler, he picked up Wolverine, and we stared at the back of those cards at the whole wave of figures that were coming, and knowing that we needed to get each and every single X-Men. And that to me really sparked my interest not only in comic books but in collecting action figures. Some of those variants that came out in that first Toy Biz line, second Toy Biz line, we had hung on our wall, mint on card. You know, some really great stuff, some really great instances of collecting, and that's probably my first vivid memory of being a collector. As far as comic books, Uncanny X-Men 300 was the first book that I ever picked up off the shelf and paid my own money for, and that really started out of my love for the X-Men action figures and the X-Men television show. As far as the second part of that answer, when the Marvel movies came out and created a cohesive world, a cohesive universe, a shared universe, that really sparked my interest in getting back into comics and finding out what was going on with the continuity of these characters. So my friends would say, oh, you're the comic book guy, and I didn't really read comics that much until about 8 years ago, when the Marvel movies all started up. I started heavy into the comics. As far as an unpopular comic book opinion, I also have two for you there, guys. In the vein of the Rob Liefeld comment, I think that John Romita Jr. is fucking awesome. I know a lot of people hate on JR, but John Romita Jr. is awesome. I love his early Spider-Man stuff. I know he's just copying what his dad did, but I think he did a great job doing it. I love when he started to develop his own style. Some great stuff came out in this latest run of All-Star Batman. The first arc, JR did a fantastic job on that. I think that the best Superman has looked in a long time was when JR drew him with Jeff Johns writing during the New 52 run. That was a really, really beautiful run. Some great Superman Great action in those books. I think JR is the tits. So if you don't like John Romita Jr., then I guess you're, just trendy. Also, more importantly, I feel that my most unpopular comic book opinion at this moment is that Marvel is currently better than DC Comics. Yeah, I said it. I don't even care what anybody has to say to me about it. DC came out with Rebirth, and it was very exciting. Super exciting. But let's look at where Rebirth is now. Most of those titles that came out, I couldn't give a shit about. Yeah, Rebirth got me to care about Action Comics and Superman, which I really didn't before, which is awesome. I really like that. But as far as, Teen Titans is great. That's awesome. Super Sons is fantastic. That's great. Titans is meh. Deathstroke is okay. Batman, Tom King's Batman is not nearly as good as Scott Snyder's Batman. So, let's go ahead and say that right now. It's pretty darn good, but it's not as good as what we had before. I still don't care about the Green Lanterns. I still don't care about Green Arrow. You couldn't pay me to read a book about Batgirl right now. Nightwing's okay, but for the most part, DC's right back to where they were. Rebirth hasn't done anything to really excite me. Meanwhile, over at Marvel, people bitched and moaned about Thor being a woman, and Jason Aaron's Thor has been one of the most consistent books year after year for the last, I don't know, what has he been writing it, 5 years since the God Butcher stuff. Fantastic. Straight through, one cohesive story, great stuff. Ever since the Pleasant Hills story arc, that event with the Avengers, Captain America has been one of the most fantastic books to read. He's the best villain right now in the history of comics, in my opinion. Captain America is destroying everything in his path, and he's barely lifting a finger to do so. And if you're not reading Steve Rogers' Captain America, you're not reading the best book on shelves. Marvel is absolutely killing. X-Men and Humans are both on the rise. IVX was a fantastic crossover event. People are giving a lot of hate because, all these crossovers, all these events, but IVX was phenomenal. The artwork has been fantastic, and a lot of these issues coming out. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur has been my favorite book to read. It hasn't been, earth-shatteringly awesome, but I have fun every time that book comes out. Marvel Comics, in my opinion, better than DC Comics. Gizmoat also wants you to show off some flea market finds. Apparently, the pickings are slim where they are. I'm a little bit of a flea market rat. Unfortunately, I've been working weekends a lot lately, and that has really cut into my flea market dipping. There's a great guy at the Jopletown Flea Market, D&D Collectibles, sells a lot of action figures, Loose Toy Biz Marvel Legends, does a lot of horror stuff, not a whole lot of comics. He has some from here or there. He doesn't do those as much as he used to, but I did pick up a fantastic issue off of him. And speaking of JR, this is a signed John Romita Jr. Avengers vs. X-Men #1 variant. That's a 9.6. I got this for 20 bucks. It's absolutely beautiful. Got the signature right there. It's slabbed, 9.6, 20 bucks. How do you beat that? There's also some older folks dealing toys in there, somebody who didn't know what they had on their hands. I got this Star Destroyer from Lego. It retails for like 120 bucks. I got it for $30. Box was sealed, all the pieces were included. I saved about 90 bucks on that, so really happy to grab this at the flea market as well. The Gizmo clan is also very interested in our on-hand grail. I really only have one Holy Grail book that I would give my soul for, and that is Giant Size X-Men #1. And I've seen it. It's not for a lack of being able to find it. It's for a lack of being able to afford it. That's why it's not part of my collection. As far as my on-hand grail, my favorite book in my collection right now, I would have to be a more emotional connection to it. And that's the Scotty Young signed I Hate Fairyland variant. Fuck Fairyland #1. Got Scotty to sign this at a local shop in Annapolis called Third Eye Comics. They're a big part of Awesome Con, which is in DC every year. They have a great store in Annapolis, Maryland. I went down there for a signing for the launch of this book. Fantastic stuff here. Really love Scotty's story in this book. Love these naughty covers. Love the fact that I have to go buy a comic in a black bag at the shop, and it's a cartoon about a little girl Kind of weird, but I definitely dig this book. Lastly, the Gizmoats want to know about lesser known variants, and I've got a couple of lesser known variants here, but I wanted to go with one book that I don't read at all, that I picked up this variant just because I saw it on the shelf and I thought that it was absolutely phenomenal. And I also picked the second variant as well, and this is a series that I started to collect based on how wonderful all the covers were, the variants and the regular covers alike. As far as the series that I picked up based on the covers alone, it was actually Adventure Time. And I absolutely love this cover right here. This is Adventure Time number 21. This is the C cover. Sorry about the glare there, but this is fantastic. I love the way all the characters are depicted on this book. You know, Adventure Time is a really simple cartoon style, and to switch that up even slightly really comes out with some fantastic results. I love BMO right down there. That's a really cool cover. And as far as a book that I don't read, that I picked up the variant based on the cover alone, I really, really love this cover right here. And this is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 9. This is the villain variant by Dean Niculo. Now this is just a tidal wave of putties swallowing all of the Rangers, and the only Ranger really fighting back here and having any success is the White Ranger beating the shit out of that one little putty who's hanging out outside of the wave. Now I'm not really down with the Power Rangers that much, but this cover was so awesome that I had to pick it up. And this is the only issue of Power Rangers I have. Didn't really get caught up in the hype. The movie looks like crap, and the new toys are garbage, so this cover really jumped out at me, and I thought it was awesome, and I had to have it. So there you have it, Gizmoats. That is my entry into your 100 subscriber contest. Really hope you guys got a kick out of some of the things that I shared, and hope you enjoy watching the video. I also have a 100 subscriber contest going on my channel as well, so feel free to check that out if you like. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share. As always, guys, make sure that you are collecting what you love and you share what you find. And if you have an opportunity, go check out Gizmoat17's 100 subscriber contest. True Manchu, I'll see you next time.